Amerigo Vespucci was born on March 9, 1454, in Florence, Italy. At that time, Florence was a rich and powerful city. It was known for its art, culture, and learning. Many people in Florence worked as merchants, bankers, and scholars. It was also the time of the Renaissance, a period of great discoveries in Europe. People were interested in science, geography, and new ideas. Many explorers and sailors were looking for new lands across the ocean. As a young boy, Vespucci was very curious. He loved learning about geography, astronomy, and mathematics. He studied under his uncle, who was a well-educated man. He learned how to read maps, calculate distances, and use navigation tools like the astrolabe and compass. These skills were very important for sailors and explorers. Vespucci also read books about famous travelers, such as Marco Polo. He dreamed of exploring the world one day. When Vespucci grew older, he started working for the Medici family, one of the richest families in Florence. They were powerful bankers and traders. Vespucci worked in their trading business, where he learned about buying and selling goods from different parts of the world. He traveled to different cities in Europe and met many sailors and merchants. In the 1490s, Vespucci moved to Seville, Spain, to work for a trading company. This company supplied ships for long voyages across the ocean. At this time, Spain and Portugal were sending many ships to explore new lands. They were looking for new trade routes to Asia. In 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed across the Atlantic Ocean and reached new lands. He believed he had found a new way to Asia. But many people were not sure. Some thought these lands were something else. Vespucci wanted to find out the truth. In 1497, Vespucci joined an expedition to explore the new lands. The details of this journey are unclear, but some sources say that he sailed along the coast of what is now Venezuela. He saw many new things: exotic plants, unknown animals, and native people with different customs. He wrote about their way of life, their food, and their traditions. He described large rivers, thick forests, and beautiful landscapes. He noticed that the climate was much warmer than in Europe. In 1499, Vespucci joined another expedition, this time led by a Portuguese captain. They traveled further south along the coast of South America. He realized that this land was very different from what was known about Asia. He noticed that the coastline was much longer than expected. This made him wonder if this was a completely new continent. Vespucci made another journey in 1501, this time under the Portuguese flag. He sailed even farther down the coast of South America. He saw the mouth of the Amazon River, one of the largest rivers in the world. He also observed the southern constellations in the night sky, which were not visible from Europe. These clues helped him conclude that this was not Asia, but an entirely new continent. During his travels, Vespucci carefully recorded everything he saw. He wrote letters describing the landscapes, animals, and native people. He noted differences in climate and geography. He described jaguars, parrots, and strange fruits that were unknown in Europe. His detailed observations made his reports very valuable. After returning to Europe, Vespucci's letters became widely read. His descriptions fascinated scholars, sailors, and mapmakers. People were excited to learn about the new lands. In 1507, a German cartographer named Martin Wald C. Müller published a new world map. He had read Vespucci's letters and was convinced that the newly discovered lands were not part of Asia. He decided to name this land America, using the Latin version of Amerigo Vespucci's name. This was a major moment in history. Until then, people thought Columbus had reached Asia. But thanks to Vespucci's observations, it became clear that this was a new continent. Over time, the name America spread and was used for both North and South America. Even after his voyages, Vespucci continued to work in exploration. In 1508, he was appointed chief navigator for Spain. He was responsible for training sailors and improving navigation techniques. He helped create better maps and taught others how to use tools like the quadrant and cross staff. His work helped many explorers travel more safely across the ocean. Vespucci's discoveries changed the way people understood the world. Before him, Europeans thought the world was much smaller and that Asia was just across the Atlantic. His travels showed that there were vast lands in between. This led to more exploration and new trade routes. Many European countries became interested in these new lands. Soon, they sent more explorers, traders, and settlers to the Americas. Vespucci's work was not only important for geography but also for science. He helped improve navigation methods. His observations of the stars and the position of the land helped create better maps. He also studied the culture and traditions of the native people. He described their houses, clothes, and way of life. He showed that they had their own advanced societies. Vespucci's discoveries had a lasting impact on history. His name became famous, and the name America was used on maps. Over time, people forgot about some of his voyages, but his letters remained. Today, historians still study them to learn more about early exploration. Even though Columbus was the first European to reach the New World, Vespucci was the one who realized that these lands were not Asia. This was a great achievement. Because of him, people understood that there were new continents to explore. Today, Amerigo Vespucci is remembered as one of the key figures in the age of exploration. His name lives on in the continents of North and South America. His careful observations helped shape the way people saw the world. His letters continue to be studied, and his legacy remains important in the history of geography and exploration. His work inspired many future explorers to travel across the ocean and discover new lands. Thanks to Vespucci, people began to see the world in a new way. His journeys helped expand knowledge and trade. His discoveries opened the door for future exploration. Even today, we remember his contributions. The continents that bear his name stand as a tribute to his work and his vision.